Today I will talk to you about, well, Deng Palomares. I've worked with the Sea Rounder since 2001, and I'm its manager since 2017. Reconstructing capture fisheries and applying this to the fisheries, freshwater fisheries of Canada. So after the successful marine fisheries reconstructions, we now embark on a new experience, a new adventure, and that's going on reconstructing the capture fisheries of continental waters. And we tried it on Canada first. This is what you see in the sea around us. Later on, you will have another part of, it will be another link to the continental waters freshwater reconstruction, capture fisheries reconstruction. The goal is to estimate the total extractions of all aquatic resources that have been extracted by the fishing countries of the world. Now, so how do we do this? When we say reconstruction, we do this by taking the catches of a country within their national boundaries that are reported to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. These reported catches usually represent industrial fisheries, and therefore what we needed to do, what the Sea Around Us does, is to make sure that the catches are distributed to the different sectors. And to this, we add other catches. For example, the catch of a fisher that is taken home for consumption within the family, or the catch of a recreational fisher. Actually, reconstructions is like solving a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle. So the first thing we do is we get the edges and corners, which are equivalent to the reported catches, and then we add onto that everything that is not reported, and then we solve the puzzle. Then we have this. And this is how the global atlas of marine fisheries were done. All of the results that we have in the sea around us are curated in these core databases. So we have, it's not just the capture fisheries that we have in the sea around us database. We also have the database of the what we call fishing observations, fishing agreements, licenses. We also have the database on end use, how is the catch used? Is it used for direct human consumption or for fish meal and fish oil, which is now a hot topic? And what is the price of the catch? And then how do we, FishBase and SeaLifeBase and Aquamaps help us actually in all of these reconstructions because they provide the taxonomy nomenclature, the biological probability distributions, and life history parameters. So without FishBase and SeaLifeBase and Aquamaps, the way that we reconstruct the capture fisheries will be very difficult. So, why reconstruct freshwater fisheries? I don't know if you have any idea about freshwater fisheries, but when we started working on this, we started this work 2 years ago with 2 student volunteers. And one of those student volunteers was a high school graduate. But he was perfect. He was really good at doing this. And we discovered that the data on freshwater fisheries catches are even more scattered than those of marine fisheries. And it was really difficult to get, especially indigenous fisheries. It was very difficult to get the data. Fisheries landings for Canada, in this example, are published by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, but they only started in 1990. They don't go back farther than 1990. I think it has to do with, well, there's a historical thing about it. It was I forgot the name, Sparrow. It was the Sparrow case, which started in British Columbia because in 1990, there was an indigenous fisher who was arrested for fishing in his own river. And this Sparrow case prompted the saying that the DFO is not obliged to actually know what the indigenous fishers are doing. And so there's no recording of the indigenous fisheries catches. But modern fishing started in Canadian freshwaters since the 1800s. So there's only reports for the freshwater artisanal or commercial landings, and that's on an annual basis from 1990 to 2022, and it is reported in weight and in numbers of fish killed. However, the recreational fishing in Canada is only as reported as 5-year surveys. So every 5 years, there are numbers, and the numbers are only reporting the numbers of fish kept or killed, because in Canada, recreational fishing is supposed to be a release, catch and release. Catch and release. You're only allowed to keep, if you had a license, to keep like 3 pieces of fish per species. And we only have the numbers every 5 years from 1990 to 2015. There's not even the 2020 numbers out yet. And the 2015 report did not have the species breakdown. Plus, all of these numbers are in reports. They are in PDFs. They are not in a database. So very difficult to look into. Canada, why Canada? Well, we live there. And, but look at that map. It's a very porous country. 2 million lakes. 563 of these lakes have surface area that are larger than 100 kilometers square. Canada is huge. 12% of the water surface covers the almost 10 billion kilometers square of land of the whole country. The longest river is that river over there in the Northwest Territories, and that's called the Mackenzie River, and that's Canada's longest river. It has a length of 4,241 kilometers, and it flows into the Beaufort Sea. The biggest, say, lake area is which is shared in the U.S., and that's the Great Lakes area. And the St. Lawrence River is an important shipping body of water, and it is 3,058 kilometers long, and it flows into the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Lots of water is equivalent to lots of a huge amount of species as well. Now, these are the results. You can see the results of the graphs. The top charts are the numbers of fish killed, and the bottom chart are the catch in metric tons. The gray part of the chart is for recreational fisheries, and you can see in many of the provinces and territories, that is the overwhelming part of the catch. You have indigenous fisheries as well in the northern territories, in Nunavut, even in the Yukon, and over in Nova Scotia. The indigenous fisheries is the overwhelming part of the catch of that province. And then you have commercial artisanal fishery. You will notice that there's only, in Saskatchewan and in Manitoba, you have an overwhelming part of the catch as the commercial artisanal fishery. Now, maybe, I don't know if anybody here is familiar with freshwater fisheries in North America, but they say that it's the artisanal fishery that's taking all the fish. But our charts say no. what is taking all of the fish are the gray parts, especially here in British Columbia. It's a huge part. This is the PEI. You have Newfoundland and Labrador here. And in Quebec, the gray part is the biggest part, right? And these charts show us, let's say, gives us an idea of the behavior of the fishers, especially of the recreational fishers. So that's by province and territory. And just to tell you, well, the period between 1950 and 1977 were made possible, the reconstruction were made possible because of reports that were published by the Dominion Bureau of Statistics. That was the precursor of the DFO. So this is the summary statistics for the freshwater fisheries of Canada, and recreational, indigenous again, and artisanal, that's for all of freshwater fisheries. This is catch in metric tons, and this is numbers of fish killed in millions. Now, why is this important? It's important because you can see the artisanal fisheries here is big, makes up a big part of the fishery in numbers of fish killed, but not so in weight. It's because the artisanal fishery is targeting smaller species. You have the recreational fishery is actually targeting large species. And it's the recreational fishery that pushed the extinction of, or the, not extinction, the extirpation of some of the lake sturgeon and the lake trout populations in some of the provinces of Canada. And so we were thinking, okay, so how does that look? Marine catches, freshwater catches. You have industrial fisheries, that's the more important thing in marine catches. Recreational fisheries in freshwater catches. And then this is the total Canadian extractions from all of the aquatic waters of Canada. You still see marine is much bigger than freshwater. Thank you. 2 years of work.
Well, 2 years of